Okay, we will now look at how to create a hollow histogram in Python. So, click the link to download the CSV. I've already downloaded as histogramdata.csv, so it's already downloaded. Then upload your CSV to your Google Drive, done that. Mount your Google Drive to Google Colab and authorize Colab to give access to Drive, I've done that. And now read the CSV file into Python as a data frame. That's what I'm about to do. So to read this into Python as a data frame, I come to Google Colab so I can type Python code. And in order to create a data frame, I need an API or a library called pandas. So I'm going to import pandas as PD. So I've imported pandas so I can create my data frame. I'm going to go ahead and create the data frame and call it df and let it be. Well, I'm going to use pandas to create the data frame. So PD dot, and there's a pandas method called read underscore CSV. So we choose read CSV, and then we just have to give this thing the file path in quotations. So I put parentheses, put the quotation marks. Now I'm going to get the file path. So I'm going to come over here to files, and I've already loaded the hollow histogram CSV in Google Drive and then put it up here into my files. So I right click on the three vertical dots and copy the file path, and then I paste it into the quotations. So now this code will create the df from the CSV that was given, and I just want to see what the data frame looks like. So I'm just going to do df.head just to see what's in this data frame. And when I do df.head, I see that I have variables x and y, and they're just numbers. So I don't know what these numbers represent, but one of the variables is called x, the other one is called y. Okay, so we have loaded the CSV. So read the CSV into Python as a data frame. I've done that using pandas. Now create a hollow histogram for the variables x and y. Paste your result in the answer box. All right, so I just need to create a hollow histogram for these two variables. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to add another code window or another code cell. And in this code cell, I'm going to import another library. So pandas won't do my hollow histogram. What I'm going to use for my hollow histogram is pyplot from matplotlib. So I'm going to, from matplotlib, I'm going to import pyplot, and I'm going to give it an alias. So from matplotlib, I'm going to import pyplot, and I'm going to give it the nickname PLT. So I'm going to import pyplot as PLT. Then I'm going to create the two variables x and y. I'm going to take them out of the data frame. So I'm going to let x equals the variable df bracket. Then the variable that I'm going to put for x is just x. So I'm going to let x be just itself. I'm going to call that x. Y, I'm also going to let the variable y be y from the data frame. So that's just going to be df with a bracket and then quotes for y. So now the column y is given the name y. The column x is given the name x. Those two variables are separated now. And now I'm going to use pyplot, and I'm going to do two histograms here. So first, I'm going to do the histogram for x. So plt dot hist, and I'm going to throw x in here. So the thing that I want to do the histogram for is x, and then the number of bins I want to use, I want 5 bins, and then I'm going to give it an edge color of red, and I'm going to set the alpha level equal to 1. And lastly, the type of histogram I want is the hollow type, the step histogram. So I'm going to say hist type, and I'm going to set it equal to step. All right, so that is going to create my histogram for X. I'm just going to copy that code because I'm going to pretty much use the same code for Y, except instead of X being here, I'm going to call this Y. So replace that with Y. And instead of the edge color here being red, let's make it, I don't know, let's make it green. Everything else will be the same though. And then lastly, I just need to show this plot. So pyplot plt dot show is the last function I need to call here. When I run this cell, it produces a hollow histogram. So as you can see, green is the histogram for the Y variable. Red is the histogram for the X variable. If you take a look, it does not look like these come from the same population. So I think that's one of the questions that we had to answer here. Do the variables X and Y appear to come from the same population? Just looking at the hollow histogram, it looks like Y, the green one, has a smaller mean and median than X, the red one, because you see the peak here is in the 60s, while the peak here is somewhere in the 40s. It also looks like the red one, which is X, has more of a spread. It's spread out further than the green one. The green one is more narrow. The red one is more spread out. So it seems like the red one has a higher mean and median and also a higher standard deviation. And it seems like the green one has a smaller mean and a smaller standard deviation also. So it doesn't look like they come from the same population at all.